This is Override 2 Super Mech League. We're on Xbox Series X. The game is indeed optimized. We're getting a native 4K resolution at 60 FPS with no HDR. And yeah, it looks kind of wonderful. It's also really cool in the fact that this is a game that you can play with 4-player local multiplayer if you want. Or you could play online against others, or you could play against the bots like I'm doing here. It's a wild game filled with intense action and very straightforward gameplay. The idea is you're in a combative league of robots. There's tons of different mechs. You get to pick your mech, and then you go in and you battle to the death, or there's different game modes. Like there's one where like a ring kind of moves around, and when you're outside of the ring, you're losing health. It's actually pretty cool. But yeah, there's some neat abilities, neat combos, and it's kind of just this really well done, gorgeous looking robot fighting game. I quite liked the first one. I thought it was kind of fun with the style of it, and they've kind of just expanded upon that in many ways here, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I really have been having a lot of fun with this one, because it's very straightforward, it's to the point, it's something that you can enjoy, hopefully if you can connect with others, or you could just play locally as well if you want to, which is kind of fun. And then also having the bots means that there's a lot of longevity to this one. So aside from just like, you know, using our different abilities like our legs and using our arms to punch as robots, you know, we've got these special abilities, and then on top of that we can also pick up these different weapons. So I got like this stabby thing here, and then I can use that to kind of attack in different ways against my foes. There's like weapons too, like guns and stuff, and yeah, it's kind of nuts. And then there's these ultra abilities you can pull off as well that kind of cause absolute mayhem and destruction for everybody involved, so that's kind of neat as well. It's a very straightforward sort of game, but also neat in the sense that, you know, you have all these different moves you can unlock and all these different characters. I particularly like this character here because it's actually kind of funny. Big bubbles, you know, kind of shoots little bubbles on the ground. Just a really neat robot, because I've tried quite a few of the roster. There's like a large list of them present. And I gotta say, that is very impressive, the amount of robots or mechs that you're able to use. So you're also probably wondering, is it just robots smashing each other and causing mayhem? I mean, honestly, do you need more than that? And that is yes and no the case here. So what you're doing in this one is either just doing a quick match and competing against others online in a variety of different modes and ways, and also throwing in bots if you'd like. There's also offline training. You know, there's a few different kinds of modes, and then what I'm playing right now is actually considered the League mode. Wow, I'm having a hard time getting out of this area. Fish Guy is definitely having problems, that's for sure. So anyways, like I was saying, there's this League mode, so you're actually working and fighting and doing different challenges in order to complete these sponsorships, in order to level up and unlock like new content and new mechs and things like that, and, you know, decorative type cosmetic things and stuff. It's kind of just a neat, I guess you could say almost extra type mode, which is kind of cool. It's just a fun little thing to work towards if you want, but you might not even notice really that it's even an option in the game, because you can just jump into the quick play or the other options for combat and go from there. So it's not like necessarily structured as a story, but I mean at the same time, should it be? I mean, it's a game where you're smashing things with mechs. It's like, I guess you could say maybe Pacific Rim 2, but good. But great. This is kind of funny because I say that because it's just like a really beautiful, colorful, weighted mech game, and it's gorgeous just in terms of like the visual aesthetics, the look of the environment, and just seeing like the robots with the wear and the tear. It's kind of nuts. You're seeing them just kind of absolutely like crumple down and break and get all, you know, smashed and stuff. It looks fantastic, at least I think so. And then you got all these like particle effects going on. It's kind of nuts. It looks really neat. I really love the aesthetic look of it. And then you have all these different arenas you can battle in and all these different setups. You know, we've got like 2v2. We've got, you know, singles, 1v1 kind of going on. There's 4 players kind of battling in some things. Different objective setups. A little element of destruction too. It's kind of fun seeing the city levels where things get all smashed up. Seems to be a lot less of a reliance on that in comparison to the first game, though, because in the first game they were like really nuts about you kind of doing a lot of city destruction while you're fighting. So it seems like they've toned that a little bit down, which is disappointing because it was kind of fun seeing like all the buildings smash, and now you only get a little bit about that. So this kind of charges the ultimate, the yellow area here, as you're seeing. Just kind of a good little indicator to understand, you know, how the ultimates kind of charge when you're playing in the game, which is kind of neat. But yeah, as you're seeing, a good roster of characters. There's also, I think, some like DLC type mechs you can add to, like an Ultraman or something like that, which is kind of neat. I think I have that available, but not in this particular mode setup. Kind of a cool thing. But they do, like, they have a really large roster of mechs that you can fight. They all look cool. They're all very different, which I think is kind of one of the more impressive things for me, is the fact that, you know, it looks different. I just threw that mech at the other mech. That's kind of funny. You know, they got like such a varied cast of, like, I don't know, mechs here. It's crazy. And then yeah, I got one of the guns here. Some of them are like swords and stuff. They do a really good job of providing all these different weapons. Oh, somebody's doing an ultra. Hopefully I can finish these guys off. I don't know, neat, easy to understand control scheme. It seems to run relatively well and smooth and look cool and flashy and over the top. It's just a fun game, really. That's the most thing I'm trying to get across, especially if you like, you know, mech-esque experiences. This one hits the mark, and there's not really too many like this. You know, I think they really did a great job on doing a sequel to the first game and improving it in many, many ways. I gotta say, I generally actually do genuinely enjoy what they've done with this one in terms of gameplay style and mechanics. And then obviously it's like a very clean presentation of like next-gen visuals, which is super cool. Yeah, it really is just quite flashy and gorgeous. And I know it's like a smaller set game, so this is kind of easier to achieve technically, because, you know, the arenas aren't too massive, the robots are really close together, but at the same time, I guess that'd be pretty demanding having like a whole host of combat kind of going on in one area. It's just, I don't know, I think it's actually a fairly impressive effort in terms of like the visual presentation, the style of the game, the movement, the combat. It just really quite works well, and I think it provides a really fun kind of game to play, and definitely something a little bit distinct and unique. There's not too many games out there that are quite like this, and I've been trying to show off a different like bot every time we go at this, so you can see, you know, the different options out there for combat, which is kind of fun. Just kind of this insanely fast-paced battling game. And the matches are quick, so you know you can jump in and play a match and have fun, and then continue on. And I think that kind of works out well for it as being a really good multiplayer party-type robot game. And like I said, we really do need more cool mech games like this, because this is fun, you know, where you just get the giant mechs. And it does, again, kind of remind me a little bit of Pacific Rim just in terms of the style, but obviously I think a lot more personalization here, which is great too. Just in terms of like the different robot designs and that, I think it's fantastic. Ow. Do not appreciate that. Oh, is that a frying pan? I want to use this. Ow. Ugh, frying pan attack. Just looks nuts, right? What a crazy game, just so insanely. And I hope you can actually like really see what's going on here, because it's kind of even a blur to me how much like action is going on in this one. Oh, let's see if we get the ultimate going on. There we go. That's an easy finish on that match, that's for sure. So we're jumping into a versus setup match, so you can see something a little bit different, and also the cake area with this setting on. Oh, and we've got Ultraman here, which I think is like a DLC type character, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, this is a little bit of a different setting just in terms of like what we're doing battle-wise. I've turned weapons on high. I've done the xenomorph setup, so it's like we're fighting kind of, I guess you want to say, a horde type situation in comparison to other modes. Ultraman. I don't know, just something a little bit different to present, and you can see some little bit longer gameplay. I also love the shifting arenas. You know what it kind of really reminds me of? Rise Son of Rome, almost like a gladiator situation where you've got this shifting environment. You know, some of the maps do this, not all of them, but it's just kind of neat how you're in this obvious like arena of showcase and battle and honor, because you can see like the little fans in the background, see, cheering on these giant robots battling. Kind of nuts. That's for sure. Get up, Ultraman! It's kind of a cool addition. I think it fits into the game quite well, having the character here, am I right? Dun, dun. Ow. Yeah, this mallet thing is like kind of a little bit hardcore to use, at least I think so. I'm gonna try to pick it up here. Just because it's such a slow swing, usually everybody escapes and you just like, the windup just kills you. I'm getting absolutely smashed as Ultraman. I don't know, I think it's kind of a cool game. I could see, you know, to a degree, this adding, like, having an element of, like, repetition to it. But if you like the core gameplay loop and you want to jump on here and have fun every once in a while, and, you know, do some competing, working through the league thing, I think you might actually have a lot of fun jumping in here and playing this one and seeing what it has to offer when it comes to mech-based combat, because it is something unique in the industry, and at least I think so, genre-wise, and that makes it quite a bit fun. Oh, I actually won that one. I didn't think I'd do it. That's cool. I thought this might be a good finisher here. We've got the control thing that I was talking about, and we've got a cool, bright kind of beach location, and of course, more robots battling. Well, I am in the air. I have been picked up. That was crazy. Yeah, this is kind of nuts. I love the spectator element of it. So anyways, the idea here is not necessarily to damage your opponent. The idea is to keep your opponent out of the ring so that they get damage. It's definitely something a little bit different in comparison to the other modes. It's kind of cool, and it also moves a little bit, and then it also shrinks. I think that's kind of a neat sort of play on the games. You know, kind of game modes. It's just a little bit different, which is nice. You can kind of see these guys fighting each other out. Oh, jeez. Oh. Yeah, I literally can't escape, can I? Oh, no. Okay. Are you kidding me? Okay, well, there we go. I won because they were standing outside of the ring too much. Okay, we'll do one more battle. Okay, let's do this intense battle brawl to the death. And destroy buildings along the way. Or not, it doesn't seem like too many buildings are crumbling, which is half the fun of the experience. Yeah, I hope you've got an idea kind of how the game runs and how it looks, and the play style of it, and the fun you can have, and the weird abilities. It's absolutely nuts. It really is just a wild game that brings lots of fun, crazy action, combat, and giant mechs smashing into each other with a variety of weapons and ultimate abilities. It's kind of nuts. It really is. Like, this is just insane. And you know, you can get a pretty good challenge in here too as you work through things and try to become the best out there on the circuit, which is exciting. And then of course, like, that whole, I guess you could say, almost passive multiplayer element in regards to being able to just do quick play battles against others. I think that's pretty cool too. Just, yeah, we're filming late at night, so we don't really have people available to jump in with, but yeah, I was playing matches with others earlier, and it's actually quite a lot of fun. It's really intense to be fighting against, like, a group in this one. It's kind of nuts. It really does feel very action-packed, especially when every wrong move costs you your precious points. Especially, you know, you don't notice it at first, but once you get to the late rounds where your health starts coming down, you're like, ooh, this isn't good. Oh, I've got the building. That's awesome. Ugh, taste the stab thing. Oh, stabby, stabby. Time to go down, robot. Mech thing enemies. What a fun game. Like, so weird and so interesting and different. I definitely like this one. It's just crazy. Huzzah! I should have actually jumped into it sooner, quite honestly, but alas, here we are. You want some too? Oh, there we go. Where'd you go? Want to finish you off. And I like how it's a brawler game, but it doesn't feel intense like a usual brawler game. Well, it's not intense, but you kind of actually, like, sort of really strategically pick your moves and your attacks. But anyways, there it is.